Let's talk about Kylian Mbappe, PSG, and Neymar as well. Apparently, wants out of PSG, and the Mbappe thing. He's playing with the second string at the moment, which is bizarre. That arguably the best player in the world is playing with the reserves.
I thought he'd left. I think he's on holiday.
Is he?
He was pictured this morning with two young ladies on a beach.
Yeah.
He is, but he has had the first part of his loyalty bonus, ironically enough, paid to him. £40 million, 40 million euros, and the second half of that loyalty bonus gets paid on September the 1st. Because he's not forcing this move. He is just sitting out his contract.
Well, they gave him the deal.
They gave him the deal, absolutely. And he held up that shirt and it said 2025. And he's like, hang on, my contract's until 2024. And I'm like, oh, in the words of David Brent, they won't remember. And suddenly they found themselves in a little bit of a pickle. I think as far as he's concerned, he's done... It's a little bit like Kane, actually. He is in the box seat. He doesn't have to kick up, say anything, do anything. He is in control. They've given him the deal, and now they're reaping the whirlwind because he could... And they will need him on the one hand. And on the other hand, I almost wonder if, as brilliant and obviously magnificent as he is, I wonder if his departure and Neymar's departure will allow PSG to reset and build a team rather than a guest list, rather than a kind of a group of players that rely on their brilliance, their individual brilliance.
Good point. The problem you've got is he only wants to go to Madrid, is apparently the message. And why the hell would you pay anything over a gesture of 30, maybe 50 million at the most to get a player you're going to get in another 9 months?
100%.
Because, and Mbappe's not going to force the issue, because if they don't pay anything for him, that 80 million or 100 million they were going to pay for him goes to him. It's really, I mean, why PSG gave him this contract is beyond comprehension.
Well, when they did give him the contract, we were all astonished by the amount of power it seemed to give him. But surely, and maybe I'm being idealistic here, Danny Murphy, surely Kylian Mbappe wants to play football, right?
Yeah.
So surely he wants to play football somewhere where he's happy. So could he take a pay cut to do that, a huge pay cut to do that?
Yeah, I think it's feasible to think that he could sit down with Madrid and find as a triangle, if you like, and think, well, okay, if you're going to let me go now for a reduced fee, then I might say to Madrid, well, over the 5-year deal, the extra 50 million you got to pay to get me out to make it 100, take that off me, 10 mil a year, 12 mil a year, whatever. That's
not uncommon practice, is it? Much smaller numbers, but it's not uncommon practice, is it?
Yeah, things like that happen. Yeah, they do, but on a lesser level. But it depends. We don't know. I don't know him. I don't know anything about him or anyone that knows him well enough to think that his whole life is revolving around football and he loves it that much that he's bothered about sitting in the stands for 9 months.
Do you not think it kind of saddens me in a way? In one way, I'm relieved and I'm glad because my son and I said at the start of last season we must get to PSG a game to see this front three because this is a time of our lives where you had the Barcelona front three, and now we have this at PSG, and we did it. We went to see PSG Marseille. Neymar was brilliant, scored the winner. Messi was okay, did some Messi-like things, didn't impact the game as much as we'd hoped. Mbappe was hopeless. I mean, truly hopeless. He just stood there doing nothing. And we were both really shocked by it, and he clearly wasn't very happy there. I'm pleased and relieved that we actually got to go and see those three, but more than that, I'm sad that it actually, Darren, hasn't worked out how it probably should have worked out. The rest of Europe's loving it because they've not been slaughtered at the hands of Messi, Mbappe and Neymar, but what a shame they couldn't produce a number of golden games, golden moments for us all to cherish forevermore.
Yeah, and I think it's almost a lesson to PSG in a way that you've got to construct a team. If you have somebody whose ability is so far above that of everyone else, or even at three players whose ability is so far above everyone else, then it's just going to be so unbalanced, and some days they're going to turn up and some days they're not. And I almost wonder if he does, or when he does go to Real Madrid, he's going to be surrounded by people whose attitude, despite what they've achieved, is really at it. and he's going to have to match that. I think he's been given too much power at PSG, and his motivation levels went down. Everybody knows what he's capable of, and it may well be this season that PSG find themselves in a position where they have to use him. They can't keep him in the reserves. Luis Enrique looks like the job has aged him 6 years, and he's only been there 5 minutes. And my understanding is that he keeps asking, look, can I play him? Can I play him? And they keep saying, no, you can't play him because of this transfer standoff. But it's a shame because it should have worked out. But as I said, and it sounded a little bit flippant, but in football you have to build a team. You can't just assemble, the egos. I remember in the last days of Real Madrid, one of the first things that Jose Mourinho went there was get some of the bigger names out, the egos out, because he knew that they could do for him and undermine his authority. And I think somebody like Mbappe has to be at a club where he's not able to do that.
The weird thing, there were some other good players at PSG. Donnarumma, Hakimi, Verratti, Marquinhos. There's some really good players there. Neymar apparently wants out as well. He's 31 years old. The thinking is surely he'll go to Saudi and take that big money. Can we not see him at all possibly going to Chelsea?
No.
Why not?
Well, I've covered 2 Chelsea teams, and the stuff that you don't see in public, the press conference stuff, the stuff you see from behind the scenes, what I happen to know is that he is not a Mauricio Pochettino player at all. He's not a Mauricio Pochettino player. He's too old. He's got a big ego. However talented he might be, he is somebody. Pochettino likes to work with younger players. Thiago Silva's a consummate professional. I think he's an obvious what's the word I'm looking for? Role model, exactly. But I think in the main, if you look at most of the players, while everyone was saying, "Oh, Pochettino's gone to Chelsea, could he come in for Harry Kane?" He went and bought Nicholas Jackson, 21 years old, young player, high ceiling. He loves to work with younger players.
Well, also, let's not forget, he's had first-hand experience with Mbappe, Neymar, and Messi. And I was very fortunate to spend good quality time with Poch in Doha. And he spoke to me about the complexities of that dynamic, especially when you're coming up against teams like City or Munich, who have good sides, and you need some players to defend.
Can I just say, I love that sentence. Complexities of that dynamic. How impossible they were to manage is what you're saying.
I've been thinking about how to put it for a while.
They were trouble.
Fantastic vocabulary.
But when you break it down, you're in a new job at a club that has become a little bit stagnant in terms of its play and a little bit predictable. There's disappointment, anxiety, frustration amongst the fans, even some of the players, you could say. He's got to go dynamic with Chelsea. He's got to have a team full of dynamism, hunger, tenacity. He's not gonna risk that cohesion and that togetherness that he's trying to build by bringing in someone like that.
I honestly thought I was sitting next to Simon Jordan then. Complexities of that dynamic. He'd be proud, you know.
Yeah,
he would. The only thing you've got to do now is add square that circle and you're doing okay.
And if it walks like a duck...
Why have a dog and bark yourself?
We listen to him too much, don't we? When's he back? We need him back.